folks, uh, on my last video, I know I didn't know it then, but it was kind of a little fuzzy and the sound and all that stuff wasn't all that great, so I'm going to try to do better. But I'm going to tell you a little story. Before I retired, I was the crime scene investigator for the police department. Believe it or not. I mean, I wasn't half bad as a crime scene investigator because I like doing that, but it reminds me of a little story I'm going to tell you. But kind of leading up to it, one of my pet peeves is if you buy, or I buy a new vehicle from a dealership, they're always wanting to put that little sticker, Joe Blows Ford or whoever, on the back of the car. And I'm like, you know, I'm paying for it. I'm not advertising for you, and you're not giving me anything to advertise, so take that sticker off. And the city had bought a big old crime scene vehicle to use. And we had bought it from a local dealer. Well, we bought the chassis from a local dealer. We bought the big box part of the truck from another place. Then we had another place customize it, so everybody wanted their stickers on the vehicle. And we'd had it for several months, and a lot of times on Fridays I would go and wash it, kind of keep it cleaned up for the weekend in case we had something happen on the weekend. So where I washed it was over across the street from the police department at the old jail, where they had the water hose and all that stuff. So I pulled it over there and was washing it, washed it real good. And one of the times I thought, you know, I'm gonna take these stickers off. You know, we had one from the dealership, I said, from the box people and from the customizing people, and I think it might have been another one for a little customizing job that they had. But it was, you know, a little bitty stickers, but like I say, I thought, well, I'll take those things off. And one of the things I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and kind of scrape them off. I had a knife. It was a razor blade knife. One of the secretaries at the police department, her husband worked for a carpet company, and as a promotional thing had a lot of these knives, and we had one, or I had one, and I thought, well, I'll just scrape it off with this knife, you know, wash it real good, and I'll be real careful, and I'll just, you know, kind of peel it off. Well, that worked pretty good for one, and I got right beside the door on another one, peeling that thing off, and as I said a bunch of times, oh crap, that razor blade knife had just closed right on the end of my finger. Looked at it and I'm like, hey, it's not bad, it's not even bleeding, but it was gaped open, a big old gaped open place, and I'm like, well, that's going to need some stitches. And about the time I thought that, it started just gushing blood. And it wasn't just kind of seeping, it was like drip, 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 drip. And this was about 4 o'clock. And I thought, man, I'm not going to the hospital to get stitches, because when I go to the hospital, notice I said, when I go to the hospital to get stitches, they always ask a bunch of questions. And since this injury occurred on the job, it's going to be workman's comp. So I'm going to have to fill out a bunch of paperwork, and I don't want to answer a bunch of questions to what I was actually doing. So put pressure on it, direct pressure, as they say. And I thought, well, that'll stop it from bleeding in a minute. But I had all the soap and the water hose and the brushes and all that stuff still laid around, and I thought, well, I got to get this stuff cleaned up here. And I had on the little khaki pants, and I'm like, well, I can't get blood on those things because somebody's going to ask some questions. Why you got blood on your pants? Well, every time I'd move it, you know, that stopped it right quick when I had, you know, direct pressure on it. As soon as you quit, man, it was just dripping. I'm like, man, this ain't gonna be good. I thought, what can I do to fix this? And I thought, over across the street in the lab, we got some super glue. We got a big old thing, a bottle of it, that we use for various things. And I thought, well, I know, I'll just go over and super glue that thing you know what I'm trying to say. Super glue that cut together, hold it a little bit, and poof, I'll be good. No stitches, no harm, no foul, no bunch of paperwork to fill out. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, I've got it stuck together like that, holding pressure. And I get the water hose and I get all that stuff straight, put up. And I'm like, well, my main concern right now is when I get to the police department, I go in the lab, make sure nobody stops me or starts talking to me, because they're gonna wonder, why am I doing like this, And if y'all worked around any of those people, y'all know you don't give them an inch, because they'll take a mile. And I'll never live this down. But so got in the truck, pulled it across the street, and I'm like, man, it's just about 20 after 4, and I get off at 5. I thought, man, I'll get this thing fixed up, and ain't nobody gonna know nothing about it. So pull in there, back the truck, go back up in there, get in there, go into the lab, get the big old bottle of super glue, and I'm kind of playing at a handicap now because I'm holding direct pressure. So I get the big old bottle of super glue and squeeze it. There's a big glob just comes out all over my hand. Well, I can't ask nobody, hey, how about helping me? Because then they're going to say, what happened? And I'm going to have to explain it, and the whole police department's going to know in about 2 seconds. So I've got all that stuff all over me, and I'm like, crap, it's about 4:30 now, and I get off at 5. And if I'm going to work overtime, it's got to be approved, or I'm going to have to fill out a piece of paper saying why I was working overtime. And I can't say I was working overtime because I was stupid and super glued my fingers together. But anyways, while I'm thinking all that stuff, that super glue is set up on me. All my fingers are glued together now, like a duck foot. So I'm like, crap, how am I going to get out of this? Because somebody's going to ask if I'm standing around with my hand like this, or if I got my hand in my pocket. Well, when we check out, we went to a system a little while back where we have to use fingerprint to clock in and out. That ain't gonna work. Not gonna happen. So I know what. I've heard that you can take super glue off, or you can loosen super glue up with like fingernail polish, acetone, something like that. Well, I don't have any fingernail polish. So I get on the phone, I call April. I said, look, you ain't gonna believe this. Of course she does. But I said, do you have any fingernail polish? Because she's at home. She said, yeah. And I said, well, dig it out, be on standby, because I'll be home just quick as I can. And I rush back out of the police department, jump in my vehicle, not the crime scene vehicle, but the other vehicle. I'm going home just as hard as I can go. Just like this. So pull in the driveway, I go in, April says, well, what happened? I said, well, I don't have time to explain right now, but can you get this thing unstuck? And she gives me that look, which I'd probably give myself that look too, because I done gave myself that look like, golly, I can't believe that's happened. And I've said that a lot to me too. So she gets to ask, well, first of all, she gets fingernail polish. Puts it on there and slowly starts prying my fingers loose. Well, I'm like, you don't have to hurry. Well, we had some acetone for taking like paint and all that stuff off. So I said, I stuck it over the sink. I said, just pour a bunch of it on there like that. I'm gonna tell you right now, that stuff burns in an open cut. I'm here to tell you, it'll loosen it up, but it burns like you just might as well stuck your finger on the fire. But I didn't think of that, but I could have cauterized that thing probably. But she pours that thing on there, and finally I get it loose enough so I can kind of manage, but I'm like, man, I gotta get back to work while I can check out. So, puts a Band-Aid on there, fixes it so that it's not gaping open and I'm not dripping off blood. So I drive back to work just hard as I can and get there just a few minutes before 5. hands in my pockets, standing around waiting on 5 o'clock. I thought, there ain't nobody ever gonna know nothing about this. And they did until I started telling people, like right now. But I'm gonna tell you, as I always say, public service announcement from me to you. If you cut yourself, don't use super glue by yourself to try to fix it, because you'll wind up with a duck foot. And if you do that, and you're going to try to use like acetone or fingernail polish or something on an open cut, that stuff burns. I'm just here to tell you. So we'll be seeing you. Good day.